Hi everyone, my name is Cheyenne Tyler Jacobs, and I have the honor and privilege with sitting down with our director and leading lady of Love and a Candle. So how are y'all both doing today? Thank you so much. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, you said it like you were trying to convince yourself, so I just wanted to ask.
Oh.
Any answer for both?
For both of you, so you're also doing great. Okay, great. So I'm not gonna keep y'all too long. I'm lying, of course. But I do have a bunch of questions that I'm really excited to get into. One of my first ones is just, I really love the bits, I like to say, throughout this film. What I mean by that is like the game plan bit of like we have the poster board out, we're moving on, we're looking at the papers due. And this question is kind of thrown to both of you in a different way. So Miles, from the aspect of really writing and directing that, what did it look like to kind of have that kind of tit for tat tennis ball kind of action going back and forth? And Regina, just even if you're like, I'm gonna be honest, how long did it take you to really nail that down, like with your cast member of how because when I mean it was seamless, I was like, oh, I would have messed up at least 20 times by now. So if we want to start over here, because when I mean you were like, we're gonna use Discover to pay for this, to pay for that, I was like, yeah, I would have cut about 5 times.
That's funny. It honestly did not take long. I got blessed to have the ability to memorize pretty fast and just kind of like pick up on things fast. Something that Miles has been telling me since I met him in 2022 is to slow down a lot of times when I'm doing scenes. So that was my moment where he's like, hey, you can go fast here. And I was like, okay, yes, it's my time to shine. So it really came pretty naturally because that's just how I am as a person. And we had rehearsals, so we had time to kind of smooth it out. So by the time we were on set, it was, good to go. Yeah, I don't think it didn't take that long enough.
Just seamlessness.
Yeah.
And for yourself, for like writing kind of that, and not just with that scene, but I really enjoyed how in sync they were as a couple. So, whether it's you pulled it from certain inspiration or just maybe just your talents as, you have, what was it like kind of creating those bits and then seeing it play out in real time?
So, it's great.
What's going on?
Do you want to talk about it?
I don't want to sound stupid. I don't know if I understand the question.
Okay, so the game plan scene that you wrote.
Yeah.
You were there, I assume. Okay.
Yes.
So when you wrote that, right, and you wrote, I think, a lot of moments where it's like, they came in with good news and they're finishing each other's sentences, right? What?
Oh, is that so?
No. I'm naming 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So how you had, for a writer and a director, a lot of those moments where we have a lot of that being in sync. One, what did you pull from or what inspired you to write it? But also 2, from directing it, what did it kind of take to make sure this looked authentic?
Gotcha. Okay, so the chemistry part, it was mainly just getting them together and make sure they, know each other and they're going over their lines and kind of understand each other so that way when they get in the scene, they're fully in sync. And then also when writing it, it came from me, a desire for wanting that in a partner, and I thought it would be really cool to have that with somebody. So if I don't have it now, then it'd be cool to see it on camera.
Aww.
Culture.
But it's a drama. Like, that's so heartwarming.
It's a romance comedy.
Like, my heart grew a lot in that moment. And honestly, but let's stay there for a moment because, we're going to stay because I'm in this chair and you're in that one. So there we go. So my next question then for you with saying how you're like, I would love for a relationship to look this way. When you're, looking at a lot of the moments, again, of the authentic love, even like a lot of the shots you had of them holding each other, I ain't gonna lie, and afraid to shed a tear. Did you take that from your own relationships or, alluding to maybe a relationship in the future or just other dramas you've watched? Where did a lot of that authenticity come from? Because I truly, truly, honestly think that it was really real. Like you had those moments where this could just be a regular couple that we all know.
Yeah, it came from a want for these things. A lot of things in this film, especially with the romantic part of it, it came from what I would want my relationship to be, or what I would want my relationship to look like, or how I would want my partner to respond to certain things as far as like what's going on, especially like the ride or die aspect of it. I mean, I am an entrepreneur and it's very much a roller coaster. So having a woman who does understand that lifestyle and, sometimes we're down, sometimes we're up, like it's, very much a grind It was more so, yeah, something that I wanted to see rather than pulling from something I've been through.
Okay. And I think though what you did, which, you know, I'm going to pivot now to Regina for this question for you, was although it's very much like we have that ride or die energy, like she's very much invested in the same way he's invested, there are a lot of moments where you can kind of see like when one of them walks away, it's like, how are we going to get through this, right? And I've heard a quote once that said, in life, a lot of times you have realists and dreamers. And the quote goes, you need dreamers to make sure the realists get off the ground, and you need realists to make sure dreamers don't fly too close to the sun and get hurt. And so when you think of Tia, you know, do you think she maybe leaned more on one of those sides? Because I know I have my outlook, but for you really sitting with her, you know, really bringing her to life, and I would say her partner really being that dreamer, like, what do you feel like you kind of brought more of into that realist or dreamer dynamic?
I love that question. I think Tia, I mean, yeah, she Tia.
We're Tia, we all.
I do think that she would lean more on the realist side. And I think she understood, though, her role in people's lives. Even her sister Mandy, for example, I, as in Tia, wanted to protect her. You know, she was already going through what she was going through. I wanted her to think everything was fine over here. She loved me so much. I knew she wanted us to succeed. So it was important to me that even though I was realistic and knowing kind of what the real situation was, I wanted to let her dream. I wanted her to think that our dream was, you know, gonna come true. It's same with Gerald. Like the candle business, although we both were invested in it, my backstory with the actor Krishan was that it was still his idea.
Yeah.
Like that came from him. And I supported and jumped on board, but I, like you said, I was more so not as big of a dreamer as he was in that. And I had my different moments where it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this. But like behind the eyes, you have the worry, you have the doubt sometimes, even in your partner. But having to kind of push through that, put on a smile because you know that they need you to do that for them was something that was more important to Tia than for her to burst anyone's bubble.
And if we were to maybe see an extension of like the hidden mind of Tia or the moments we didn't see when she was on camera, do you feel like she maybe had, whether it be a vice, a prayer, or what was it that you think really centered her to say, I can do this because I am his rock, right? I have to do this for my sister. What do you think was her way of really motivating herself to really be that support that so many people in her life needed?
I made a decision that Tia was a protector, like even as from like kid age, and that her and her sister, all they had were each other, no parents in the picture. And having that type of relationship early on, it like led into all my relationships, even my friendship with Saya, my relationship with Gerald, like that just became a part of who Tia was. So I think that's kind of what, in terms of me character work wise, where I came at it from, like, oh, I have to, and not even have to, like, I didn't like to be that support system, but it was more so like, this is who I am. Like, I'm a protector. I want to protect his mind, heart, and soul. I feel like that's my role here. And especially because I feel like he did it for me as well. Like, it was a give and take. It wasn't just one side receiving. So yeah, I think that's where it came from.
I like that. And I like that, you know, very much how you said you decided early on, she is a protector. We are the protector because in this role, you two are one in Miles. Did you think maybe unintentionally or intentionally that kind of aspect of dreamer and realist, that dynamic would surface maybe once you put it into play, that Tia would be more so? Because I saw that coming out of like, she's the one though who really is looking at that paperwork like, okay, like I'm really like, although I'm like, oh, this is
hit me with that. We gonna have to cut back on food.
Right. You're like, oh yeah, we you're like, we can cut back on food. Whole time you're already on like 3 months from now budget. You know what I mean? Like, did you intend that when you write it, or did Regina just kind of like bring that to Tia when you got to work with her?
Yeah, no, in the script it was Gerald is the solid dreamer. Like he is the one who is, you know, sacrificing everything and really believes in it. And Tia, I mean, like she said, it wasn't her idea, but she came on board and she loves him, so she believes in him. So she kind of got wrapped into the dream. So you kind of see that throughout the film where it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm with you, but hey, you know, like what's going on? So that was definitely supposed to be like that because that's also an aspect of, you know, just going back to the romantic part of the film, like having that partner, and can that partner really survive that dream and that journey that you're going on?
And what would y'all be? Dreamer or realist? And again, I always say that as if we're not both. Like even in a dreamer, there's a little bit of that realist, but would you say you lean towards one side or the other as your individual, like here today, like not as your, person?
Right.
I'm a dreamer, yeah.
In a good way, I figured that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, you said that.
Well, I thought you were thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't.
I know the way I live my life. I know I'm a dreamer. I mean, I try to. Once again, we have both of it. I feel like I'm a lot more realistic than a lot of other dreamers. But at the end of the day, with what I'm pursuing with my life the past 15 years, only a dreaming ass nigga would be doing that.
And I'm a dreamer as well, for sure. I think I mentioned before, like there's a certain level of delusion and confidence you have to be an entrepreneur and to be an artist at that. So yeah, I think I'm a dreamer.
Okay, so we have our two. Don't look at her like that. He looked at you.
What did you do?
Come back here. I'm in the chair. So, with that, right, and I really do actually love y'all interaction. So one thing I really love that I got to hear from our other beautiful interviewers was that one, this was our first drama, right, for SBS. This is our first time working with each other in this type of capacity, right? I'm gonna guess like actress, director, and also just for me knowing y'all like out of this context is y'all are also friends. So what was it like? Y'all are, stop Miles. So what was it like to work with each other as friends, in my eyes, in such a professional capacity where it's like, you're directing this, writing this, and you're the lead? Like were there moments where you're like, I'm gonna smother you with this pillow? Were there moments where it's like, I might block you? Like, you know what I mean? I know you have those moments every day with him, so.
At all, we were.
No, I want to hear her first, though, actually. Regina, don't look at him, look at me. You know what I mean? Like, what? Yeah, tell me. Give me the real tea about. Okay. So what was it like working with your biffle? A biffle? Best friend?
Well, that's right.
Yeah, biffle.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was nothing but positive spirits and great things. And
Did you rehearse that when you got here? Or did.
Working with Regina was fun. It was great. I mean, I had these expectations going into working with her because, I mean, we've known each other for years, but never actually worked together. So it made me think, like, dang, that could happen to where we work together. It's like, yo, this
Block. Yes.
is the end of friendship here. You know what I'm saying? But every day it was great. Like, she brought positive energy. Said she knew her lines. You know what I'm saying? She knew her character. She knew. You know what I'm saying? She was ready to do her job. I told her at the end that she was like a director's dream when it comes to, being an actress and working with someone. So I have nothing but great things to say. I could have.
No, you can. No, that's my goal always, to give
Oh,
emotion.
gosh.
Sorry, no. Let's do your thoughts.
No, I had a great time working with Miles too. And honestly, when he reached out to me about this role in the script, like, I'm super excited because I've been wanting to work with him. Since we met, since 2022. And I think what I really love about Miles as a director on set is that he's collaborative. Even though he's very particular, he has his vision, as all directors should. He is still open to you as an actor saying, oh, well, I feel like maybe this is something my character would do in this moment, or this makes sense. And he doesn't shut that down. So that was fun to explore as well, like working with someone is okay with you speaking up. Although there was an experience where
And we are
trying to.
Would you like to share?
There was a moment where I tried to check in with him, and he gave me the cold shoulder. He was really rude. What did you say?
It was
He was
like, mom.
No, I want to hear.
Yeah, he was. What did he say? It was at the pool. My favorite scene, and he, made terrible for me because at the end he said something like, "That's not a good question to ask right now," or something like that. It was rude.
Why did you tell her to shut up? That's what I heard.
Then, we wrapped. It was fine. We went home.
She ignored me when I
Texted me because he felt bad. So he.
Oh, so you did the post text like you did it?
Let's get the work done, and then we'll talk about it later.
That's not. No, he's actually. It was a personal question. The question I asked.
Oh, was it a word question?
It was related to it. It was basically me saying, because I knew something had happened in one of the scenes, and I felt like we maybe needed to run it back. But I could tell that there was a lot going on. I wasn't sure where he was at, if he'd be okay with that. So I was like, well, let me check in with him first, because he may not be able to handle this question. So I said, what did I say?
So it's giving Tia trying to support. It's giving Tia was trying to support you, and you told her to shut up.
And it's not like I was just
That's what I'm feeling. Like,
I just said, hey, it's not a good time to ask that question. And we just kept it.
but did you find the right time to let her ask that question?
Yeah, later that night, we texted and was like, wait, were you trying to act?
Bingo! Good night, Trick. Wow. She didn't say good night, first of all.
No.
It's not reflection. It was just, I'm like, I hope she showed up tomorrow. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, you told her.
Fine, we were fine. That's something I was telling about Austin's director. He's like, he's not afraid to be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't see for that to come off this way or whatever. Like, he's a very open, honest person. So it was okay.
And she showed up the next day. So
I showed up the next day.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't know. We finished. No.
well,
I'm not gonna just drop out there.
She-
That was my first time working with her. This could have been it. This could have been the one.
not you said it's my first. No, she would have just not talked to you again. Well, to bring it in, because, Regina/Tia, because even in that moment, she's just trying to protect the quality of the project. And when we think about protecting, right, because you are really the person in this position to, like, protect everybody, you know what I mean? To, like, I'm trying to help. So when it comes to your homegirl, Tia, a question I have is, I like the head going up like this. Do you think she should stick it out with her husband, or what would you have had her do?
I would say leave.
Leave. He sounded annoying.
The way you were speaking to her.
You called out her mama.
No, this was Miles. It was Miles.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, he sounded very specific
He
voice.
played the husband, and no. And she talked about your mom, right?
Somebody's mom was there.
Tia's mom.
I don't know what people's dynamics are in a marriage. That could just be how they live.
What she whispered to her, though, don't get married. So I, want to know, would Tia have helped her try to progress, or would you have told her just drop this?
Tia would have said, but Tia handles things differently than Regina,
Yeah,
She's
okay.
a little bit softer than I am, which is saying a lot, because I'm not that aggressive a person. Yep, but Tia would have been a lot more like, John, I love you, but I just don't think this is like the healthiest place for you to be. That would have been more so Tia's thing. But Saya wouldn't have listened. Saya's a lot more like than Tia, so clearly, Jeremy and I didn't have that type of relationship. I couldn't handle it. Me as a Tia. Couldn't handle it. It's simple. I told her to leave.
Do you think she should have left?
No, I think there's different relationships and different kinds of communication to help.
That was verbal abuse.
They were both verbally abusing each other.
And do you want to have this conversation with me?
Huh?
You said this is verbally abusive. Like, do you want to have that? I don't think that's healthy for everyone.
No. But it depends on how you take it, the intention behind it. Maybe that's how they joke with each other.
Somebody called somebody's mama out their name.
Exactly.
It's just like,
No.
See, in this, let me stop.
Maybe counseling would have worked to try to bring in communication.
Sure, need an exorcism.
But I just wanted to see where we were at with your best friend's, marriage. And
they're gonna stick it out.
well, one of the last questions I have is really this film, like we said, explores relationships and all dynamics, right? We have the intimate partnership of, the relationship at hand, like you as a main character. We have the friendships, we have the sister. So many heartstrings, like I ain't gonna hold you. There are definitely moments where I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, like but I like to cry, so don't base it off me, okay? Wait for somebody else's tears. And there are so many moments where I think we really questioned, what is your breaking point? And do you take it, what is the phrase? Like, do you hold them, do you fold them, right? So for y'all in your personal lives, like outside of the character, outside of you being like a writer, director, like as an actress, as a writer, director, but outside of just this film, have y'all ever come up against that breaking point? Like, have you ever really been sitting there and it was like, I don't know if I could do this?
No.
And
I haven't.
okay. Well, then to pivot away from that question, what do you do to pour into yourselves to make sure that maybe you don't reach those levels?
You research. Make sure you have the knowledge that what you're doing is the best route, or at least the most knowledgeable and experienced route. Instead of just kind of blindly going for it, blindly just, I'm auditioning, I hope things are working out. Like, you're researching and you're taking the time to really dive into the career that you kind of have. So you're not just, blindly walking. Like, it's more of a calculated journey than just a hopeful journey.
Am I inspired to be self-care? self-discovery. Although I'm going to be honest, this is something I'm still personally working on. I have not figured that out. I have a lot of different jobs and positions and things that I do because I'm passionate about a lot of things, but that can lead to burnout. It can lead to that moment where, like I said, I've never experienced it yet, where I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm not do this. But I think the answer to me not getting to that point would be taking time to myself. Especially as artists, we need time to reset and kind of, especially when you're going into so many different characters and different lives and mindsets, that's taxing in itself when you emotionally let yourself go there. So just taking care of yourself and really making sure that you work on you.
Okay, I like that. Rest, research, you know what I mean? Taking the time, because you need time to research, you need time to reset. And I think that is a beautiful way to close us out. And I think it's actually very inspiring that both of y'all have been doing this for a good amount of time, right, on your journeys. And so the fact that that breaking point has not reached you, because I think you are able to do both this research reset, just knowing you outside of this, having your communities to fall back on, I really do think is a beautiful thing. And I'm so proud of the work that you've been able to put into Loving a Candle. So thank you so much for sitting down with me. I am looking forward to seeing all the feedback that y'all get from this project. And once again, my name is Cheyenne Tyler Jacobs. We have our writer-director Miles and our leading lady Regina. And make sure y'all go watch Loving a Candle. You're gonna enjoy it.